Good morning. Thank you for joining us for this special edition of Local 23 News. I'm Brenda Medina. As declared by the President of the United States, November makes a month of recognizing our veterans and their families for their service to our country. And today we go ahead and recognize them as we pay tribute to our veterans. We begin at the resting place of more than 1,100 American sailors and Marines killed during the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941. Every year, nearly 2 million people visit the USS Arizona Memorial. Christine Uriano reports.
Every day, this memorial welcomes nearly 5,000 people, some waiting in long lines to get in.
I just lost my dad, who was a veteran, and I just want to come and pay some kind of respect, memory of my dad.
The 184-foot USS Arizona Memorial honors the memory of the crew, as well as other service members and civilians who died during the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. To ensure this landmark continues to be preserved, about 40 staff members and numerous volunteers work daily to care for this memorial.
When you talk about volunteers, what types of duties do they have?
We have volunteers who go out to Honouliuli, and they make sure that the trails are clean so that people can, as we plan to open that facility soon, people can have the ability to go down and navigate those trails. We have volunteers who help with handing out tickets, and then some of them really love to be out on the USS Arizona Memorial itself to provide historical and information about the people who fought and died on the Arizona on December 7th.
Recently, several large groups of volunteers, including Navy personnel and their families, helped scrub the decks, repaint, and reopen the memorial and dock. It was closed for more than a year due to damage caused by king tides.
And together, those 130 or so individuals contribute about $20,000 in labor to the rebeautification effort out at the USS Arizona Memorial. That included painting the entire interior of the memorial and parts of the exterior, removing rust, polishing the stainless steel rub rails and handles out on the memorial.
But it's not just large groups helping to maintain the memorial. There are also individuals like Mac Humphrey,
you have a reservation?
Who has been volunteering here for 7 years.
You were offered a paid position, but you declined it, and you said you'd rather volunteer instead. Why?
Because I make enough money as it is to live and enjoy life. Why should I make more? I may as well, I feel better volunteering. When they have a good time, I have a good time. When I can help people, I help people. I want to have a good time here as well as wanting them to have a good time.
Manning the memorial doesn't just mean everyday care, but also long-term maintenance.
One of the projects on the horizon, a new $4 million dock here at the Visitor Center.
Which is really important because, as well known, the dock at the USS Arizona Memorial, the anchoring system for that was recently replaced. So once we're able to replace that shoreside dock, which is part of the cyclical replacement of that structure, we'll be having 2 brand new docks.
Projects like that and staff and volunteers are what's necessary to maintain the memorial, so this landmark and the lives lost are always remembered. For Veterans Voices, I'm Christine Ueno.
One of the brave souls who brought the World War II Allied fight to the bloody shores of Normandy remembers D-Day from his home in Florida. Patrick Ryan was only 18 years old at that time. Local 23's Steve Andrew takes us through his life.
Outside Patrick Ryan's Homosassa home are hints of what's inside. Beyond the front door, a proud display of hats, pictures, medals, and a small model of a landing craft similar to those on which this now 94-year-old veteran carried American troops into 6 different invasions. Among them, Sicily, Okinawa, and one 75 years ago, Normandy.
Everybody's shaking. You never know what's going to happen, you know?
His ship laid anchor off Omaha Beach.
And they said you're going to see thousands of ships. And we did.
In the pre-dawn dark, it was time.
There was so much time lost trying to load because the damn boats were going like this, and these poor guys trying to climb into them.
Patrick from Brooklyn says he rarely met the soldiers. His eyes welled a bit at the thought of one.
He said, well, I live in Jersey. He said, I wonder if you could do me a favor. And I said, sure. He said, would you give my mother my watch? I never heard if the guy made it.
His landing craft loaded with roughly 30 soldiers. The first wave headed to the beach. Patrick struggled with heavy seas and unrelenting enemy fire.
In the water, bullets hitting, popping up, and some of them hitting the front. Yeah, you could hear them. Bang, bang.
In the dark, he guided 30 soldiers onto Omaha and into history. For Veterans Voices, I'm Steve Andrews.
The military can take you all over the world and allow you to experience things you may not experience anywhere else. Retired U.S. Navy Senior Chief Petty Officer Andy Sutter learned that when he started his military career at the young age of 19.
The missile went over and missed the ship. It hit the building. It killed a Jordanian officer. They were pulling the high-value asset out, which was the Kearsarge, and they left us there in case we had to take fire.
Sutter now runs the Freedom Boat Club in Portsmouth, Virginia. He says he couldn't be happier to work on the same waters every day where he once trained to serve our country. A sense of community for a group of veterans who often find themselves isolated. One Virginia man has dedicated his life to that mission. Amy Simpson has the story.
Tucked away just south of Richmond, this home is part of James Howard's new normal.
What kind of fish are in the water here?
They got bass, catfish, crappie, a little bit of everything.
No swimming in this water.
The retired Army Ranger, wounded by shrapnel, surviving explosions in Iraq. Ultimately, a diving accident leaving him paralyzed.
It's been a long road. I've been in a wheelchair for 10+ years.
Howard served multiple tours overseas, and now he serves others who have served. Each month for the past 5 years, hosting a disabled veterans retreat with his nonprofit, Veterans and Athletes United.
Lots of veterans out from the VA, polytrauma, spinal cord injury, long-term living care, and just get a day away from the hospital.
After his injuries, Howard says a sense of community helped him push forward.
I don't have any hand function, but I find ways to pick up cups or do different things, close doors, and it's the little things you pick up on and you learn from others that I think are most important here.
At the monthly retreats, they eat, they chat, they enjoy. Jerry DeLay returning for his 3rd time.
It's hard to communicate with a regular civilian that hasn't been in a combat situation.
Working to recover or learning a new normal. Each veteran has a unique story.
Make the best of things and really just, continue to do what you did before, just kind of do it in a different way.
For Veterans Voices, I'm Amy Simpson.
Coming up, a trip through time, how one of the few remaining Buffalo soldiers is helping veterans have a voice. Then, inspiring others, how some female veterans are using coffee to motivate other vets.
KVEO TV presents Veterans Voices, honoring those who served. Every year, nearly 2 million people visit the USS Arizona Memorial at Pearl Harbor. After damage to the deck due to king tides, large groups of volunteers, including Navy personnel, help to repair and preserve the landmark for future guests. Sponsored by the Law Office of Juan R. Zamora and Spikes Ford.
Cigna knows you're more than just a number. That's why Cigna Medicare Advantage treats you like a whole person, body and mind, for a cost that makes sense for you. Start enjoying more coverage for less. Call 1-855-952-0796. With Cigna, you get medical, dental, vision, and prescriptions in one plan. A team of doctors for your overall health. And healthy living programs to save you money. Plus, no monthly premium and no primary doctor copay. Medicare annual enrollment is now. Make sure you have the right plan for the right price. Call now to get your free Medicare Advantage guide and learn how to get a complete plan that fits your budget. Call 1-855-952-0796. That's 1-855-952-0796. Or visit GetCignaMedicare.com. Cigna, together all the way.
KVEO KVEO TV presents Veterans Voices, honoring those who served. 94-year-old veteran Patrick Ryan was a Higgins boat pilot during World War II. In the pre-dawn dark of June 6, 1944, he guided soldiers onto Omaha Beach and into history. Unlike many on D-Day, Patrick Ryan made it home. Veterans Voices, sponsored by Spikes Ford.
The transition from military to civilian life is challenging for many veterans, but a bakery in Washington, D.C. is working to ease that transition one scone at a time. Local 23's Anna Wernicke is in Washington with more.
It was a lot, and it shook my system.
Kim DeFiore says when she returned home from Afghanistan, she was facing a more personal battle.
I had a couple suicide attempts while I was at the Pentagon.
After 9 years in the military, she knew it was time to leave.
And so I was like, I don't know if I can go to the conventional workforce.
That's when Kim and her service dog, Thor, enrolled in Dog Tag. Dog Tag is a nonprofit bakery in the heart of Washington, D.C.'s Georgetown neighborhood, serving more than just scones.
What we've created here is really this living business school.
Dog Tag CEO Megan Ogilvie says their mission is to provide a recipe for success for veterans transitioning into the civilian workforce.
We recruit veterans that have service-connected disabilities, military spouses, and military caregivers.
Every week, the veterans spend 6 hours in the bakery and 6 hours in the classroom.
They go through tests and papers and presentations to earn and graduate with a certificate in business administration from Georgetown.
According to the Defense Department, more than 250,000 service members leave the military each year. Christopher Plamp with Hire Heroes says many of them need employment assistance.
They have never made a resume. They've never interviewed for a job. They don't even understand the skills that they gained while they were in the military.
I mean, starting a business and you have no expertise in business, it's hard.
DeFiore graduated from Dog Tag in 2018 and launched her own nonprofit.
We founded Badges United Foundation,
dedicated to boosting overall wellness of first responders and their significant others. For Veterans Voices in Washington, I'm Anna Wernicke.
Female veterans are using their voices to blaze new trails. In Hampton, Navy veteran Mallory Rugg owns and operates a coffee shop with her friend Heather Amodeo. It's something Mallory dreamed about while she served in the Navy. Once she enlisted, she and Heather got to work after months of creating, editing, and presenting business plans and searching for locations. They opened Sweet Beans in May of 2019. They already have loyal customers, some who are surprised to hear their story.
When they come here and they're surprised by two factors all at once. They say, "Are you the owner?" And we say, "Yes." They're like, "Oh." And then they find out that I was in the military and they're like, "Really? Both of those things?" So it's really funny to have that conversation. And once they find out about those, then it's really great conversation.
As a female and veteran-owned business, Sweet Beans is an anomaly. But Mallory and Heather are on a mission to change that. Not only are they open about their experience creating their own business, they also mentor other women, including veterans, who hope to do the same. Still ahead, a national treasure. Meet one of the last remaining Buffalo soldiers and hear what he says changed America forever. Plus, a man's best friend, how a service dog is helping one struggling veteran adjust to normal life.
You're smart, and we know that Medicare can be complicated. So let's work together to help you find a Medicare plan you can understand. Start by giving us a call at 1-866-748-7695 to get a free enrollment guide. And learn how Allwell from Superior Health Plan may fit you and your life best. Allwell Medicare Advantage is Medicare Parts A and B, plus Part D prescription drug coverage, and extra benefits original Medicare doesn't cover. All for no monthly premium, no deductible, and no primary care doctor copay. And that keeps more of your money in your own pocket. With Allwell Medicare Advantage, you can say hello to the extra benefits you need to take care of yourself, like dental, vision, hearing, and more. And say goodbye to costly copays on primary care visits and select prescription drugs. Best of all, Allwell as a local plan. We're right here in your neighborhood to answer your questions so you understand all you need to know. Just call 1-866-748-7695 and learn how you can get the most from your Medicare plan. With more of the benefits you need to be healthy, while paying less out of your own pocket, all in one convenient, affordable Medicare Advantage plan from Allwell. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends soon, so let's check out your options and find the plan that's best for you. Call and request your free information today at 1-866-748-7695. That's toll-free, 1-866-748-7695 to find out more about Allwell Medicare Advantage plans from Superior Health Plan.
We continue to bring you the stories of veterans in our community, veterans who are using their struggles to help others. Laura Gasso has a story of unconditional love, how service dogs saved an Army veteran's life time and time again.
There you go.
At 140 pounds,
There you go, baby.
with the stature of a soldier,
Come on, Duke.
this is Duke.
Down, Duke. Come on.
A gentle giant best friend, a battle buddy for retired Army Sergeant Toby Yarbrough.
At the beginning, I didn't want one. I was like, I'm not disabled, I'm not blind, I'm not deaf, I don't need one.
But he credits Duke for saving his life after he was severely wounded during a 2002 deployment. He was on a mission to recover a front-end loader in Afghanistan.
In the process of repairing it, it shifted, and when it did, it pinned me down. And when it did, you had over 2 tons fly on your back.
In that moment, everything faded to black. Alive but paralyzed from the neck down, he broke his back in 3 places, suffered a traumatic brain injury, robbing him of his short-term memory. He medically retired in 2003, struggled to overcome PTSD and seizures. He returned home and shelled out $40,000 for the very animal that would save him time and time again.
And he was trained that with, he nudged me and I felt my medication in his mouth, I knew I was having a seizure. This is one of 7 different magazines that Duke's in.
We met the duo just months before Duke's passing. They went on a cruise, traveled to Belize, walked on a catwalk for charity.
Veterans in need all the help they can get.
That's why Toby has made it his mission to match veterans with service dogs. Doctors, health specialists, even vets from across the country team up with Toby to find the right service dog. It's the life he wants other veterans to live. Today,
On the table, meds.
Sasha is Toby's service dog.
Harness. But it's my story. And it's a story that people need to be heard. Good girl.
And for him, Sasha and Duke are not only man's best friend, but the buddies fighting the battle long after war.
Unseen, unheard, but always near. Still loved, still missed, and always very dear.
For Veterans Voices, I'm Laura Queso.
Dogs can be more than just a loyal pet. For some members of the military, they can help with emotional support or even everyday life. Meet John Seeley and his service dog Eli. The Vietnam veteran was diagnosed with a nerve disease after he retired. Eli provides John with an extra balancing point and even completes small tasks for him too.
Some of the other dogs, once they get older, will go on to other skills as needed, depending on the individual, opening up doors, taking laundry out of the dryer, taking your shoes or clothing off, depending what the individual needs.
John received Eli thanks to the internationally accredited Hawaii Service Dog Program. Since the program started 20 years ago, they placed over 150 dogs with people with disabilities. That includes veterans, often to help with PTSD. Now a chance to talk to someone who is literally living history. He is perhaps the last living Buffalo soldier. His name is Steve Lewis. At 97 years old, he remembers very specific details of his time in the military, his time in college, and exactly where he was the day the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. Rod Carter has the story.
Retired Army Corporal Steve Lewis is living history.
I was in 12th grade when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor.
The 97-year-old Manatee County veteran vividly remembers the day that changed America forever.
It was on Sunday, and I didn't. So it said the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, and we didn't have during that time we didn't have no TVs. We had a radio.
Although after Pearl Harbor, Lewis enrolled at Florida A&M College in Tallahassee, now FAMU, a country at war meant studies took a back seat.
Every man in college had to be in the enlisted reserve corps.
Eventually, he was assigned to the 9th Cavalry, one of 2 black cavalries known as the Buffalo Soldiers. The all-African-American groups started during the Civil War. Their service, though, lasted until 1948, when President Harry S. Truman integrated the military. And by the early 1950s, they were gone.
And we didn't know a thing about no Buffalo Soldiers in the Army. Okay. We never heard it.
Mr. Lewis may be the last living Buffalo soldier around. He remembers his duties well.
Each man was assigned a horse, and you had to take the horse. You ready to go out, you ride the horse, bring him in, wash him down, clean him up, feed him, then you go eat.
Ralph Barnett is putting together a documentary about the Buffalo Soldiers.
In spite of the huge swath of American history that they cover and their importance in American history, the story has never really been told.
Mr. Lewis is going to be a big part of that film.
They don't give it the publicity it needs.
For Veterans Voices, I'm Rod Carter.
Coming up, he's still got it. The rhythm is going to get you as well. Meet the 92-year-old veteran who's still cutting it up on the dance floors.
Every child deserves a future. Every last child. That's why we work every day, here in the U.S. and around the world, to give children a healthy start in life, the opportunity to learn, and protection from harm. When crisis strikes and children are at their most vulnerable, we're always among the first to respond and the last to leave. We roll up our sleeves, we raise our voices. We do whatever it takes to ensure children's needs are met and their rights are realized, delivering lasting results for millions of the world's most vulnerable children, just as we have since our founding nearly 100 years ago. When it comes to children, we know that even the smallest act can make a big difference. By changing children's lives now, we're changing the course of their futures and ours. Join us.
In every family, small conversations can make a big impact. I grew up on tour with my parents. Kind of different, but we bonded over music just like other families do over sports, camping, or other interests. And we talked. Little everyday conversations from silly to serious that built a foundation over time. Honest conversations, like when my dad shared his experiences as an alcoholic.
Your honesty about that part of your life gave me a sense of integrity that I wanted to uphold in my own life. And I was so grateful that you and Mom had become these sober, stable people who were always there for me.
I wanted you to know from someone who's been in recovery more than 30 years now that hard work is what creates success, not alcohol or other drugs, whether it's music or anything else. I said it a lot, and I'm glad you took it to heart.
Talk, they hear you.
A 92-year-old veteran says he has no plans on slowing down anytime soon. Every Thursday night, you can catch Angelo cutting it up on the dance floors around Richmond, Virginia. Carrie O'Brien reports.
With every step and every turn, this dancing 92-year-old World War II veteran is proving age is just a number.
It keeps me active, you know, my legs moving and so forth.
Watch out, old Angelo, in back. Watch out now. Because every Thursday evening, you can find Angelo Rico dancing in the deli at Pado's in Innsbruck. The Navy vet says he's always loved to dance.
That was my career in the Navy.
That was your career in the Navy?
Yeah, I used to dance a lot when I was ashore.
That's why the lady's a tramp.
I'm here twice a month, and it's a wonderful place. And this is a veteran outfit, and here there's a lot of veterans.
Thank you so much for your service.
But Angelo's kind of special. He is like Fred Astaire, and the girls love him.
I'm hearing the ladies love your dancing. Are you a ladies' man?
No, I don't project myself as a ladies' man. I like to dance, and they're very hospitable that way.
So, of course, I had to ask, could I have the next dance? Would you dance with me to this?
Carrie and Angelo.
This vet can certainly twirl me off my feet. For Veterans Voices, I'm Carrie O'Brien.
KVEO TV presents Veterans Voices, honoring those who served. 94-year-old veteran Patrick Ryan was a Higgins boat pilot during World War II. In the pre-dawn dark of June 6, 1944, he guided soldiers onto Omaha Beach and into history. Unlike many on D-Day, Patrick Ryan made it home. Sponsored by the Law Office of Juan R. Zamora and Spikes Ford. KVEO TV presents Veterans Voices, honoring those who served. Every year, nearly 2 million people visit the USS Arizona Memorial at Pearl Harbor. After damage to the deck due to king tides, large groups of volunteers, including Navy personnel, help to repair and preserve the landmark for future guests. Veterans Voices, sponsored by Spikes Ford.